I think that you're great, and I think you're the best. When you're next to me, I hate the world a little less. Oh, when you're next to me, I hate the world a little less. When you're next to me, I hate the world a little less. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jolene and Luna, my wonderful backup dancers. She's about to turn 5 in 3 days, everybody. Let's hear it.
And now to push this convention into hyperspace, the man who put the star in Star Wars, a real burr on the Darth Vader saddle, Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Let the good times roll.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Ladies and gentlemen, award-winning actor and son of a U.S. Navy captain, Mark Hamill.
In 1932, over 20,000 veterans of World War I marched on Washington. They were hungry, homeless, forgotten. They called themselves the Bonus Expeditionary Force. America would come to know them as the Bonus Army.
Makes me so damn mad a whole lot of people speak of you as tramps. By God, they didn't speak of you as tramps in 1917 and 18.
They came to demand the bonuses they had earned. Promises made but not kept. Instead, they were met with tear gas, bayonets, tanks, driven from the Capitol by the very government they had served. But their courage sparked something greater. Their march would not be in vain. From their sacrifice came the GI Bill, a new promise that service would be met with opportunity. Education, healthcare, housing. It was the beginning, but not the end. Every generation since has had to fight again. World War II veterans came home as heroes, but many black veterans were denied those GI Bill benefits. Vietnam veterans were welcomed not with parades, but with protests, and with silence from a nation unwilling to face their suffering. But Vietnam veterans refused to be ignored. They fought for recognition. They forced the passage of the Agent Orange Act, demanding justice for the invisible wounds of war. And they didn't stop there. They stood beside a new generation, veterans of the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan. They raised their voices again, and together they held past the Pact Act. This is not just about benefits. This is about justice, about dignity, about a nation honoring its promise to those who served. This is why we gather now. This is why we come together. When our service members raised their right hand, they didn't hesitate. They didn't say, I'll serve if it's easy. They said, I'll serve because it matters. Now it's time for our leaders to serve them. Time for the American people to stand with them. We are still marching. We are still united. We are still the Bonus Army. And we won't stop until every veteran of every generation is treated with the respect and care they earned in uniform. That's why we are here. To unite. Unite for veterans. Unite for America. We are the Bonus Army of 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand if you are able and remove your caps for the national anthem performed by Minnesota's finest, Brad Owens.
How's Washington, D.C. doing? How's our veterans community doing? Are we fired up to be here at the Unite for Veterans, Unite for America rally? My name's Will Addick. I'm the Executive Director of the Union Veterans Council. I just want to say how proud I am to be here, and I'm hoping that we're going to get real fired up. There's a ton of people. You're going to hear a lot of great speakers, but I want to make sure we do one thing first. I want to recognize the special day we talk about today, which is D-Day. Usually we don't do events on sacred veteran days. It's usually something we do, but I think that today was the time to do it. We have to fight back, but I want to take a moment of silence to first recognize all of the D-Day veterans really quickly. Lastly, we've lost a lot of friends and families, not just in war, most importantly back here, and we've got to stop that. So let's take 1 second to think about all our friends who didn't win the fight when they came home. All right, we're going to get started. I want to make sure everybody takes care of themselves. First and foremost, if you need help, talk to somebody. If you're hot, talk to somebody. If you're dealing with a little bit of stress, talk to somebody. It's the best thing we can do, all right? We created a canvas for all of you to come, to use your voice, to be part of our democracy that we fucking fought for, all right? And I want to hear it. And this isn't the end. This is just a start. And I want to introduce two people who are going to keep this thing going, Ken Harbaugh and Kate Logan. They're going to be the MCs the rest of the day.
Unite for Vets, how we feeling? Yes. Woo! I'm Kate Logan. I stand before you today as a proud Iraq War veteran, a proud graduate of the GI Bill, a proud patient of VA healthcare, a proud mama of 4, a proud immigrant, and a proud American. Like so many of you out there, I serve with pride. I carry that pride with me today as we rally to protect the promises that this nation made to its veterans. We will not be silent. So let's make sure they hear you back here. Let's hear it. Love it. I have the honor and privilege of introducing my co-host. He is not only a Navy pilot, he is the president of Valor Media and, oh my gosh, Midas Touch Productions. Midas Touch Productions. I just lost points. And ladies and gentlemen, this man just stepped off the tarmac from Ukraine. So let's hear it for Ken Harbaugh.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you. What a crowd. What a day. Is it hot enough for you? Is it hot enough for you? Because we're going to make it hotter. You know your job today. Get fired up. Tell the folks in that building behind us that we are watching. We are watching, and we're going to hold them accountable. Because you know what? You've heard the phrase, courage is contagious. Cowardice is also contagious, and they are afraid. They are afraid of us. They are afraid of this message. I am told that the leaders at the VA have a war room to try to counter the truths that we're going to be telling today. That's what fear looks like. You know what? Before we get into it, I need you to do something for me. Everybody get out their phones. Everybody get out their phones. We're going to try to crash the network. Come on, get out your phones. I got a master sergeant in the Marine Corps who's going to tell this formation what to do. Top. You heard the lieutenant. You're taking the selfie this way. I'm going to take the selfie this way, and we're going to crash the net. All right? We ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got to do it again. Somebody had their eyes closed. All right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Any Air Force in the house? We got a few. Any Navy? Army?
Come on,
No.
yes.
Uh-oh.
Give it
All
up.
right. You know I got to do it. Marine Corps? The crayons are in the snack tent if you get hungry. Look, this is not partisan. This is not partisan. I haven't mentioned a party yet. We got people from every state in the union here, especially Ohio. Where's my Ohio peeps? All right. But we are watching, right? We are watching because we know they respond to this kind of pressure, and don't let them get away with their lies. They are trying to privatize the VA. That's what it's about. They are trying to shut it down. And look, I'll be the first to acknowledge our beloved VA has some issues. Too many nurses has never been one of the VA's problems. Where are my nurses? All right. We've got an amazing lineup today. I'm going to hand it back to Kate. Kate, I need you back here. We've got an incredible lineup of speakers and a legit rock and roll band joining us in a little bit. Stay hydrated, as Will said. Take care of yourselves. Kate, let's kick it off. We got our first speaker here.
Mr. Kelly's here?
Coast Guard. Sorry, we got Coast Guard in the house. We got a few. Air Force and Space Force.
Oh, I thought I had him first. It changed. Who's going first? This is what I've got right now is Everett. Where's Everett? Where's Everett? Everett?
All
Okay.
right, we're
This
ready
next
to go.
speaker, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a fighter of the people. 30 years Department of the Army, Army veteran. He has been from the halls of Congress to the picket lines fighting for fair wages and the working class Americans of this country. I want you to give it up for Mr. Everett Kelly.
Good afternoon. How's my family? My name is Everett Kelly. I'm a proud Army veteran. And I have the pleasure serve as the national president of the American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE. First and foremost, I want to thank the Union Veteran Council for inviting me to speak and for putting on this necessary undue event. Now, I want to welcome all of you who came here today from out of town. Your commitment is inspiring, and I want to thank you for being here. Today, we're here to unite on behalf of all veterans and to bring awareness and attention to this unprecedented, unlawful, and un-American attack on veterans' jobs, benefits, health care, and union rights. What do you say? But first, I want to have just a little fun with my fellow veterans. I want to do a little roll call to see who we have here today. Do we have any Marines here today? Let me hear you say hoorah. All right. What about the Air Force? Air Power. What about the Navy? What about the Coast Guard? Somebody said Coast Guards are born ready. What do you say? All right, what about in the airspace in the house? Always above, that's what they say. Now, y'all know I say the best for last. What about my Army brothers and sisters? Yeah. Well, you know, it doesn't matter what branch you serve in, right? We've all made a huge sacrifice for our country. And all of you are my family. Now, though we all come from different backgrounds and different races, have different religious beliefs and political views, we all have similar stories as veterans. My story starts in Goodwater, Alabama, where at 18 years old, I joined the United States Army and went on to serve in the Army Reserve for another 8 years after my 3-year tour. Like many of you, after I finished my military services, I wanted to continue to serve my country, so I became a federal employee, working at Anderson Army Depot with my fellow veterans where we continued supporting the mission. You see, just because the job changed doesn't mean your service is complete. Our mission has not changed. Our mission is protect and to serve, to support and defend, and that has not changed. But now, what has changed, however, is the government's promise to be there for us when we get home. That changed. The promise to care for our families, our caregivers, and our survivors. For years, politicians on both sides of the aisle have campaigned on their support of veterans. But once they get into office, they cut our benefits, underfund our services, and take every opportunity to privatize our health care. What do you say about that? No. And guess what, brothers and sisters? We are tired of it. Veterans are tired of being celebrated on Veterans Day, remembered on Memorial Day, and forgotten about after Election Day. What do you say about that? Are you tired? We're tired of being thanked for our service in the public and stabbed in our back in the private. We are tired. Now, this sentiment ring no truer than today. In January, the VA presented employees with a fork in the road, where they encouraged members to end federal services. In February, VA recklessly terminated more than 1,500 probationary employees, resulting in chaos and confusion within the department. In March, the VA announced plans to cut 83,000 jobs for no rhyme or reason whatsoever under the disguise of efficiency. I say it's not efficiency, it's fraud. And AFG has been fighting senselessly because we know what the billionaires would do, don't we? Right? And if you don't know what the billionaires' plan for America's veterans is, let me share it with you. The billionaire plans for American veterans is to privatize veteran health care in order to make themselves wealthier. They want to make a quick buck off of the sacrifices, off of the pain, and the scars of all those of us who have served this country. They want to take away our VA medical centers, claiming that private health care is better. However, study after study showed that veterans prefer to get their care to be VA because it was created for us. Now, the VA is a place, my brothers and sisters, to go to for camaraderie and for exchanging of stories where we are treated with respect and honor because nearly 30% of the employees are veterans too. And they understand who we are. They understand the sacrifices that we've made. They understand the specialties that's needed. They understand a person that has PTSD. They know it's not a sham. They know it's for real. The VA is a place of veterans, by veterans, and for veterans. However, these mass reorganization plans that stand before us today is the targeted attack on veterans' jobs, on health care, on benefits and union rights. The layoff plans aren't just figments of our imagination. They are here. We've already seen thousands of employees being fired. But brothers and sisters, let me tell you this. I got to leave you. But before I go, I want you to know that you have doctors, nurses, housekeepers, dentists, chiropractors, pharmacists, social workers, benefit specialists, police officers, janitors, engineers, painters, electricians, psychiatrists, cooks, greeters at the front door at the VA. And every single one of them is essential to the mission. Every single one of them. And I come by to tell you today that AFGE has filed more lawsuits than a little bit, and we're not going to give up. All I need to know today is, will you stand with us? I want to know today, will my family fight with us? Are we family? Are we family? Don't family fight together? Don't family win together? I know it look dark right now, but let me tell you, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. I want to let you know that joy is coming. Say, joy is coming. Joy is coming. Change is coming. Hold on. Fight on. Pray on. March on. Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Now, Come on, let me hear everybody say that. Go ahead with that chat. Who are we?
We're skipping Matt.
Who are we? Who are we? And we're not taking nothing off nobody. All right. Okay. So next up, brothers and sisters, I'd like to introduce Arma Westmoreland from NTU, Lindsay Church from Northern Veterans of America, our own Oscar Williams Jr. from FGE National VA Council, and Matt Stewart. Would you come? Thank you.
Woo! Wasn't that inspiring? All right. Well, good afternoon, you guys. My name is Irma Westmoreland, and I'm a registered nurse in Augusta, Georgia for the VA. I'm also Secretary-Treasurer for National Nurses United and chair of our VA division. While I've worked for the VA for 34 years as a nurse, some of my earliest memories are going to the VA in Augusta, Georgia to work with the veterans on bingo nights or dance parties when I got older with my mother, who spent 50 years as a VA volunteer. I know, pretty cool, huh? Also, my husband is a retired SFC Army veteran of 21 years of service who has disabilities from his service. So the VA is deeply personal to me. Our servicemen and women were told, if you need us, we'll be there for you. It's a promise. Now Secretary Collins and the administration want to take that promise away. And we're not going to allow it. That's why it deeply pains me to see these attacks on the VA when we have a contract for the VA care. The nurses and the doctors are going to be caring for these patients. When the administration says they want cuts, we say no. We need to live up to what we told and promised our veterans. We told them that we would be there for them, and we need to do that. They stood for you and me, and I ask you now to stand for them. No cuts to the VA. Maybe some of you know someone or love someone ill from burn pit smoke or from Agent Orange or lost a limb from an IED explosion or died or suffered from PTSD, military sexual trauma, or other chronic illnesses. We know the VA is the best place to get care for these ailments and more. The VA is the only healthcare system centered around the special needs of service members. 30% of our employees are veterans themselves. But it's more than that. It's also the only healthcare system in the country that's fully integrated, will help with veterans in poverty, with homelessness, offers clothing allowances, and much, much more. I've seen magic happen at the VA. Friendships form fast, and it's not unusual to see veterans helping veterans, whether it's pushing a wheelchair or walking him down the hall to an office. These veterans share a deep sense of camaraderie and a sense of belonging that goes a long way in making a person feel better and stronger. Now, if you ask, is the VA perfect? No, it's not. I can't tell you that it is. But let me tell you, we're light years better than the private sector. That's why I will not stop fighting to see the VA improved and not destroyed. As you all know, Secretary Collins is now looking to cut tens of thousands, up to 80,000 jobs from the VA. Yeah. These decisions are being made at the atmospheric level. The staff that do the work know best where things can be improved and streamlined, and I say ask them. He says no mission-critical positions will be cut, but let me tell you, all positions in the VA are mission-critical. It's important for every person to keep their job. From the engineering staff to the housekeeper to the dietary staff, secretarial staff, and many, many more. When cuts are made, who will be there to have to pick up the work that needs to be done? The nursing staff and the medical staff that are left. when supply folks are cut. I heard that operations were being postponed so nurses could get clinical supplies. Let me explain that for you. In one place, a nurse had to go to the warehouse in the VA to get supplies for surgery needed in the OR for a patient who was waiting. That's not right. That's right. But that veteran finally got their surgery. It was delayed, but it was done. But it was because the nurses stood for that veteran. When housekeeping was cut, I heard delays in veterans getting into beds because there was no one to clean the rooms. This causes delays for our patients getting needed treatment started, and in some cases, it may need to lead for a more elevated critical need of treatment. It's common sense. Cutting 80,000 jobs will cause delays in veteran care, so we say absolutely no cuts. That's right. We know we are witnessing, what we're witnessing is an effort to push the VA past its breaking point. The ultimate goal is to privatize the VA and pour billions of taxpayer dollars into giant healthcare corporations and the pockets of billionaires instead of the veterans who served our country. Don't sell us out, because what they do, they know the VA and the federal government is going to pay them on time every time. That's why they want our care. But they don't know our care. They don't know how to provide our care. They don't know that the VA does it better than anybody. The nurses and the doctors are specifically trained to do it. We've been training for years since the VA was incepted. And while right now we're not going to go away. We are not for sale. That's exactly right. It is the nurses and the government workers who are standing up to block this privatization effort. It is because of our unwillingness to back down that nurses and other unions are feeling the retribution that came down on March 27th with an executive order designed to strip us of our union rights. It is union busting and intimidation, plain and simple. But we're fighting back. National Nurses United, along with other federal workers, labor unions, and other veterans groups, we sued the administration over this outreach of executive power. This is not about us, it's about our patients. We must have collective bargaining protections that allow us to advocate for our veterans and to speak up about issues in our facilities that cause us concerns for our patient safety. One example is that we've had shortages of IV normal saline to mix medications. How stupid is that? With that being said, you all understand the VA is not a contract. The union's not a contract. The unions are nurses. We represent no matter where we're going away. We're not going away. The union says, and I say, no cuts, keep the VA strong so that we can care for every veteran. NNU knows that an injury to one is an injury to all, so we say, when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. And we will prevail. The VA will stand strong for our veterans. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lindsay Church. I'm a Navy veteran, the Executive Director of Minority Veterans of America, and someone who still holds tightly to a belief that this nation is worth fighting for. Not with weapons or wars, but with truth, with compassion, and with conviction that we all deserve to belong. We stand here today not just in protest, but in protection of one another, of our shared future, of the soul of public service itself. Because what we are witnessing is not theoretical. It is not slow-moving. It is here. It is deliberate, and it is already doing harm. Today marks the beginning of what history will remember as a purge of transgender service members. An unconscionable order from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth that puts thousands of service members across the country and around the world in the crosshairs of their own government. Troops who serve with integrity and distinction are being told that their presence is a problem, that their identities are incompatible with patriotism, that they must choose, walk away from the careers that they've built, or stand and stay to be persecuted. This week I walked the halls of Congress beside some of them. Brave, steady, remarkable people who are carrying the weight of betrayal with grace that shouldn't be required of them. I watched as they told their stories, calmly, powerfully, beautifully. And I watched members of Congress and their staff move from polite interest to a deeper knowing. Those weren't statistics in front of them. They were patriots. And no matter what some want to believe, they belong. But Secretary Hegseth is not the only one making these decisions. At the Department of Veterans Affairs, Secretary Doug Collins has announced his goal to eliminate 83,000 jobs. Jobs filled by the very people who care for us when the wars are over. People who process disability claims, answer crisis lines, help veterans find housing, and walk alongside us through recovery. Many of them veterans themselves, many of them survivors of the very systems now being dismantled. This isn't reform, it's abandonment. And it's not isolated to VA. Today, the job cuts are there, but they are already spreading. The workforces at Social Security, FEMA, education, those pillars of community stability are already being slashed. Public servants across the country are being demoralized, discarded, and erased. Many of them, not because they failed in their duties, but because they dared to serve the people that those in power find inconvenient. This is not about cost saving. This is about consolidation of power, of control, of the very definition of who gets to be counted as an American. This week, the Navy quietly announced that it will rename the USS Harvey Milk. A name meant to honor courage, authenticity, and sacrifice, stripped from our national memory without ceremony, without justification, and without shame. The Harvey Milk story is not one they can erase, and neither are the stories of Harriet Tubman, or Medgar Evers, or Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or John Lewis, all namesakes of Navy ships. These aren't just names. They're the scaffolding of American progress. They remind us who we've been, and they point us towards who we could become. When we erase them, we do not become stronger, we become smaller. And while these symbolic erasures continue, the real world harm accelerates. Just weeks ago, the VA rescinded protections that ensured that transgender and non-binary veterans like me could access medically necessary care. Care that is affirming, care that is evidence-based, and care that saves lives. This isn't about budget. It's not about medicine. It's about cruelty, cloaked in bureaucracy. And while the spotlight is aimed at transgender people, benefits for others, women, people of color, disabled veterans, are being quietly dismantled in the shadows. Let me be clear. We are the canary in the coal mine. What they do to us in the headlines, they will do to you in silence. I've stood beside veterans as we slept on the steps of the Capitol to pass the Pact Act, because our sick and dying friends deserved better. I've traveled to Ukraine with fellow veterans to stand with our allies in their fight for freedom. I've spent my life in the military and far beyond it answering the call to serve. Because to me, service isn't defined by the uniform. It is defined by what we choose to protect, by who we choose to stand up for, and by whether we leave behind a world that is more just, more compassionate, and more free. So I say this to Secretaries Hegseth and Collins, and to every person who believes that they can quietly erase us from this country's fabric. We are not going anywhere. We are your neighbors, your co-workers, your classmates, your family. We are veterans. We are public servants. We are Americans, and we are still here. We will not be erased. We will not be silenced, and we will not stop fighting. Not just for ourselves, but for the America we know is still possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oscar L. Williams, Jr. I'm the second Executive Vice President of AFGE National VA Council. I am also a Vietnam veteran who served for 9.5 years and who went back into Vietnam after 1975 6 times because I'm an Air Force pararescue. Our council represents more than 310,000 bargaining employees who promotes quality of health care for service veterans. But today I'm here to ask an important question. When is the battle over? 81 years ago, the stormed beaches of Normandy, our soldiers faced hell itself. They fought against a tyrant because of depression and moral and insurmountable odds, and they believed our nation and our promise of a better future. Abraham Lincoln said that we should protect those who won the battle, but yet we have a president who doesn't understand the number of veterans who won the battle who are now you want to take away their health care. To take up the mantle, VA workers are fighting the battles on their own with our nation's VA council by our side. We have stretched thin, undermined the executive orders, and dismantled the staff. They are rifted out our due processes, funding our veteran programs to assist veterans are being cut without consideration on the impact of us. Yet every day, VA employees show up. Through uncertainty, they show up because they are committed to the philosophy that we deserve less than absolute best care. They show up because 30% of them are also veterans. They know the importance of the VA. They show up because they devote themselves to serving those who serve. As I asked you earlier, when is the battle over? Well, the answer to the battle is never over. We continue to fight. We will always fight. We protect the rights of our employees to ensure their equal treatment, dignity, fairness, and respect they deserve. Now it's our time to show up. We will not stand by while politicians and bureaucrats sabotage the VA. We will not tolerate policies that treat our livelihoods like political games. We faced challenges before, and many seem overwhelming. But like our brothers and sisters in arms on this day, 81 years ago, we will not give up the fight. Together we stand against an administration, against an all-out war of the Veterans Administration. And I am sure there are some of us who are out there who have children that are veterans. I had a son who served in the Army. I had a son who served in the Marines and got out in May of 2001 and re-enlisted in the Air Force and served in Iraq. All I can say is I have served, and I honor those who served beside me, and I am proud to say we are veterans.
How we doing? All right. Throughout the event, there are going to be barcodes. What do we call them these days? QR codes on the jumbotrons. Take a picture. It's our call to action. We have things you can do because we need all the help we can get. And while you have your phones out, take that picture you took earlier and send it to Blue Sky, TikTok. We'll let you do Twitter today. And tag Unite for Veterans, tag Valor Media, tag Midas Touch. We're going to get the word out. I am so honored to introduce our next speaker, one of the first women to fly the AH-1 Cobra in combat. She's a Marine Corps veteran. That wasn't enough. So she got her PhD and taught at the Air Force Academy. I don't know, I'm feeling a little inadequate. Introducing Kai Hunter, the CEO of IAVA, Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Let's give it up.
Hello, hello. Ken, thank you so much here today. And first and foremost, thank you to Unite for Veterans for bringing us here. When I got the call and Will told me he was going to throw a big party, he clearly threw a big party for all of us here today. So thank you so much. It is an honor to stand here in front of you today, particularly with all of these incredible veterans that have taken the stage today. People like Lindsay Church, who have inspired me for years to stand up and use my voice again. I am thrilled and honored and energized to introduce myself today in my first week in this role as the new CEO of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. It is truly humbling to be chosen to lead IAVA into the future. And at IAVA, we like to say that we've got your back. And here today, we are showing that it is not just a saying, it is a way of life, and it is action. For more than 20 years, IAVA has been fighting the big fights for big wins, and we've gotten some of them. From the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, to strengthening of GI Bill benefits, to the passage of the Pact Act. And yet today, as we stand here, those big wins are under attack. And so we are sending a unified message to show that we are not going to let those wins be taken away. And it is apropos that I am here that my vision for IAVA is one that of our members and some of those amazing cavalry leaders that we have out there with you today in the crowd aren't just being reactive to the moment, but are help shaping the future that we want to see for this country together. IAVA represents the next greatest generation of veterans, and it is so much of an honor to be here on the day where we honor the greatest generations that stormed the beaches in Normandy one day. And it is on that legacy that our membership is here to fight to preserve veterans' benefits. Benefits that represent the promise of the country that so many of us raised our right hand to serve. And these benefits are essential not just for each of us as individual veterans to thrive, but for us to carry on that leadership mantle and continue to fight for those who feel that they have no voice. Every one of us in the post-9/11 generation chose to serve, and many at a time when America was embroiled in two of its longest wars. We are the leaders. Everyone that is out here in front of me today are the leaders that this moment needs. In uniform, we united for a common goal. We united to raise to the challenges in front of us, whether it was fixing a vehicle, flying night ops off of a carrier, driving convoys through the desert, or being pinned down in a firefight. We came together from different backgrounds, from across this country, from different races and creeds, from different religious and political beliefs, in order to step up for what this country asked us to do. We are better together. And today we're showing that we are doing that again, because this is not a day of our team versus your team. This is a day to show that we are united. We are united to demand that America keeps its promise to us. We are united to stand up for those that feel that they don't have a voice right now. We are united to support our sisters and brothers that are still wearing the uniform and cannot advocate for themselves at this moment. We are united to support our Afghan and Iraqi allies that are currently under threats by the bans that are coming out of this administration. And this is the sign of unity that shows that we are the leaders America needs today. We are here to stand up and challenge the divisive narrative that is being fed to us. We are here to stand up and show that we stay better together even when we take the uniform off. And we are here to show that in unity and solidarity, diversity is indeed our greatest strength. And today, we not only fight for ourselves, but for our family members, those military and veterans' families and children whose programs and rights are also under attack, who are being attacked by their employment, who are being attacked for their benefits, because we are the service generation. And we know that that service doesn't stop the day that we take the uniform off, but continues. And as I look around and I see the signs out in the crowd, I see so many of the issues that we are united to fight for right now. We are here to say no to the privatization and weakening of VA services. We are here to demand that the Department of Veterans Affairs remains a system that is built to serve every single one of us who served. And why, yes, veterans should have a choice in who they get to see, that choice should also include access to highly skilled and highly trained VA medical professionals. And this is particularly essential for our women veterans out there who shouldn't be sent into the community where they have to prove time and time again that they are veterans. And critically, we are here to hold our political leaders accountable for the policies that they are enacting that are breaking the promises that America made to us. We are here to say that promises made must be promises kept, and we will have your back until they are. And these issues that we have heard so much about already today, despite what the media is trying to tell us, are not partisan issues, they are American issues. These are not issues that should be played politics with. They are matters of fairness, respect, and demanding that our elected officials uphold the sacred covenant that each of us made when we raised our right hand. IAVA, since its founding, has stood for the unity that we see here today. We've been bringing veterans together across all backgrounds, beliefs, and branches of service to face the most serious challenges that impact all of us, and in this moment, it is no different. We have your back, whether you served one tour or many, whether you served in combat or served in vital support roles here at home, because we know that we are only stronger together. IAVA will continue to have your back no matter your race or religion, no matter your gender identity or sexual orientation, no matter what state you came from or what your reason was for joining. Because once we put on that uniform, we begin our unity, and we refuse to let them tear us apart. And while I stand here today representing the post-9/11 generation, we are so humbled to honor the legacy of those selfless service of the generations that came before us. From our World War I veterans to the World War II heroes that we are honoring today, to Korea and Vietnam, and every service member who defended our nation during the Cold War. Their courage and sacrifice is the foundation that I am standing on today. And their courage and sacrifice is what inspires me to want to lead in this fight. And as I stand here, just a week into taking the helm of IAVA, I look out into this crowd, and what I see is the power of continued service. None of you had to be here, and yet on this sweltering hot day here in D.C., you know that you are once again putting your body where your ideals are and standing up to protect the most vulnerable. And in this moment of division, veterans remain a trusted voice. And this is a sign that we have the ability to restore trust and renew faith of the American people in our institutions and democracy, because we still believe they are worth fighting for. And while today we are uniting for veterans and veterans issues, you don't have to have worn the uniform to be a crucial part of our community. I see you out there, military spouses, who are the bedrock of our ability to serve. I see you out there, military children, who have served in so many other ways. I see you, parents, siblings, and providers. And if you stand with us, I will make this promise today that we will continue to stand with you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Unite for Vets, how we doing? We doing all right still? I got a lot more faces out there. Love to see it. I love to see some of those signs, too. You guys are giving me life. I love this. I was serving a foxhole with a lot of you. So, get ready. This next speaker is a living legacy in the labor movement. He has done everything from going toe-to-toe with corporations here on Capitol Hill to standing shoulder to shoulder with fellow coal mine workers on the picket lines. Since 1995, he has been the president of Coal Mine Workers of America, and he has been fighting ever since. So if you believe in justice, if you believe in the power of the people, please give it up for Cecil Roberts.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Let's give the staff to put this together a big round of applause. You're going to hear one of the best bands in America here shortly. Let's give them a round of applause. I got a question for all of you in the back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I've got a question for everybody here. Are you fired up? Are you fired up? Are you fed up? Let me hear you say fed up. Let me hear you say fed up. Let me hear you say fired up. Let me hear you say we ain't taking this anymore. We ain't taking this anymore. My name is not just Cecil Roberts, President of the United Mine Workers of America. I used to be Sergeant Cecil E. Roberts in Vietnam in the 196th Light Infantry Brigade. I want to have my dear friend Will Addy come up here for a second. Come up here, Will. Will Addy and I fought in 2 different wars, but as soon as I met him, I saw that CIB. How many of you know what a CIB is? Well, I've got one on the side of my hat. He's got one he wears. 2 different wars, 30 years difference, but we are all brothers and sisters when it comes to veterans. When I first got to Vietnam, I want you to listen to this. Some people tell me I was never scared when I went over there. You're looking at a guy that was scared to death. I tell the truth. That's the truth. I was scared. When I first got there, it appeared that nobody liked me. These people with 15 months, 10 months, 8 months, counting the days, they looked at us new guys as like, that guy's going to get me killed. Then when they heard my accent, oh no, another hillbilly from West Virginia. That's what they thought. They looked at me, these veterans, and they said, how you going to act? I didn't understand the question. How you going to act? I want you to remember that because I'm going to ask you, how are we going to act moving forward from this place? That's right. And then, when bullets would go right by your nose, they look at me and say, don't mean nothing, man. I'm thinking, bullshit, that meant something to me. And I want you to think about that. You get immune to this. And I saw so many wonderful people with kids at home, mom and dads at home, wives at home, and all kinds of friends at home not make it. When I first got there, somebody with 30 days got killed. Had a daughter he never met. Somewhere in this United States of America, there's a 57-year-old woman that never met her father. Now, how many veterans we have here by show of hands? You're going to get a test right now. How many of you met a millionaire in Vietnam or where you were stationed? How many of you met a millionaire? There's a good reason. Millionaires don't defend the country. They take advantage of the country. And if there's people listening to this live broadcast, you can be mad, your feelings can be hurt, and I don't care. The other thing I want to ask you, when you got back home, how many people patted you on the back, particularly if you was a Vietnam veteran? Didn't happen. Didn't happen. But I want to thank everybody, every veteran, because we've been embraced for the last 20 years. And that means so much to me. Thank God for you. It isn't enough to come here and rally. This is a great first step. Abraham Lincoln said this is a country of the people, by the people, and for the people. It has turned into a country for the rich people who don't care about the rest of us. I'm going to tell you what we should be planning on doing. We should demand that every person who worked for the federal government and lost their union rights be restored right now. I was in the Army, and I'm glad people recognize the service of people who were in the Army. But we shouldn't be having a parade. We shouldn't be having a parade until every veteran has the health care they deserve. And we shouldn't be having a tax plan that says to the rich who don't need money, here's another tax cut for you, until every American who has a job, doesn't have a job, has a job, until every homeless person has a home. We should make America great. I'm going to close with something. First of all, I'm calling on Congress. I'm calling on everybody that's elected. I'm calling on every American. How are you going to act? Because this is terrible what's happening in this country, and that's why we're here today. You do know, this is my last quote, okay? Well, I'm next to last. Dr. King was assassinated 1 month before I left Vietnam. And I watched these African American soldiers, so desperate, so frustrated, so hurt, pick up their rifles, pick up their M60s, and went out in those rice paddies and defended the United States when the United States didn't defend them. That was wrong. This one will really challenge you. Dr. King, in the middle of the civil rights movement, said this to those who were being beaten and arrested and bitten by dogs. He said, listen to this. If you don't have something, not somebody, not your wife, not your daughter, not your mom, not your dad, something that you would die for, you don't have a life worth living. Think about that. This is the last one. It is strange that I jumped from Dr. King to Mother Jones. My great-grandmother and Mother Jones were friends, two great radicals, and I'm so proud of our heritage. You may not know this history, but when you leave here today, read it. How many of you heard of Ludlow? At Ludlow, the gun thugs came off the hill after taking a machine gun and firing into the tent colony all day long. Sometime in the middle of the day, they cut a 12-year-old boy in two. Later in the day, they murdered the leader of that tent colony. And then they set those tents on fire and burned 13 women and children alive. That happened. That's part of our history. Mother Jones did not quit. She called for a rally in Trinidad, about 15 miles from the Ludlow site. She looked out on a crowd probably twice this size. And she looked at them. Take this with you when you go home. She said, sure you lost. Sure you lost. But they had bayonets. And all you had was the Constitution of the United States of America. And then she paused. Let me assure you, any confrontation between a bayonet and the Constitution, the bayonet will win every time. But, you must fight. You must fight and win. You must fight and lose, but you must fight. What must you do? You must fight. You must fight. You must fight.
Good afternoon. So, thank you, Mr. Roberts, for that moving speech. Thank you to my fellow public servants in the crowd for the work that you are doing. And thank you to our veterans for the work that you have done. So my name is Matt Stevenson, and I'm a proud VA primary care doctor. Now, let me be clear. I'm not speaking today as VA staff. I'm speaking as a private citizen and as a physician. I do not represent the views of the Department of Veterans Affairs. Instead, I represent a grassroots group of hundreds of VA doctors from every specialty and every corner of the country who have come together around a shared vision. Together, we stand for the highest ideals of medicine, healing for those who suffer and service to those in need. Together, we stand for Lincoln's promise to care for those who bore the battle. Together, we care for a health care system that is the bricks and mortar embodiment of something sacred, the Veterans Health Administration, a place with the commitment, the expertise, and the mission to serve those who served. So, and my friends, together today we stand at a crossroads, both for veterans' health and for ourselves. So in recent months, we at the VHA have been disparaged and demoralized. We have been bullied and intimidated. We have seen worrisome signs of an attempt to dismantle and privatize the VA. And in the face of these unprecedented stressors, many of us, I admit, are afraid. Not just for our jobs, but for our patients and for our values. But while we are afraid, we are not alone. We are not backing down. Together, we are standing up. Today, we Doctors for Veterans Health stand for our veterans just as we stand alongside them right here on the Mall. We stand for the oaths of our calling. We stand for a healthcare system which, despite what you may have heard, delivers higher quality at lower cost than any other system in the country. Now, can we do better? Of course we can. And of course we will. Because the Veterans Health Administration, like America itself, is what we in healthcare call a learning system. So accountable to Congress and taxpayers as well as to patients and family. So we VA doctors are curious, we are open to being proven wrong, and we are committed to doing all in our power to do right by the veterans and families we serve. So it's this commitment to learning that has made the VA a hotbed for innovation, a research powerhouse, and America's largest health educator. And as a health educator myself, I'm going to pause here for just a second, though I know that the Dropkick Murphys have to get on. But this is a point of real pride. So every few weeks, or in a few weeks, as I do every July, I'll welcome a new class of residents from Stanford University to learn primary care at VA Palo Alto. And these young doctors represent America's best and brightest. They have hearts that were called to serve. They have brains that I'd put up against any intelligence in Silicon Valley, whether artificial or otherwise. And every single one of them, like nearly every medical trainee in the country, will have the honor of learning their craft in a mission-driven, patient-centered, cost-effective, integrated American healthcare system. And every single one of them will be inducted as a part of their training in the art of healing the wounds of America's wars. Yep. And so I come to you today with a message of hope. Because these lessons, once they're learned, cannot be forgotten. I will never forget them. Regardless of politics or season, the VA, or rather Veterans Health Administration itself, will never die. It will live on as long as there are wars and wounds and doctors committed to healing them. Eliminate one of us, and there will be an army behind him ready to take his place. And so while we are disturbed by the events of recent months, we do not despair. While we are dismayed by those who would dismantle this gem of American healthcare, we are not deterred. And while we are disappointed by those who would take this public treasure built up by generations, by many hands, working long nights in dark hospitals, and sell it off in the name of choice or modernization or efficiency, for profit or political gain, or perhaps out of loyalty to some ideal of private sector competition, we are not defeated, because if you want competition on a fair playing field, I have 3 words for you. Bring it on. Yep. And for you veterans, I have the same 3 words. Bring it on. Bring on your pain and bring on your suffering. Bring on your trauma and your addiction. Bring on your homelessness. Bring on your toxic exposures. Bring on your cancer and diabetes, your amputations, your wounds of war, and your disease of the heart. We are here. We are waiting. We have been preparing our whole lives for you right now in this moment. Because we know what you know. We know what you know. The promise a nation makes to its veterans, that a promise a doctor makes to his patients, and the promise a soldier makes to the Constitution are the very same promise. It's a promise that cannot be broken. It's the same promise that Abraham Lincoln made on this sacred ground 170 years ago, just 40 days before he was killed. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle and his widow and his orphan, and to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. Thank you.
Is this working? Thank you, Doc. Y'all know what time it is? All right. I got to vamp for about 2 minutes, so we're going to do a little sign competition here. All right, I see this might be my favorite. I shouldn't lead with it. Taco. How do we like that one? Let's hear it for Taco. I'm sure the vets in the crowd will know what this one means. Foxtrot Delta Tango. Can we guess? Foxtrot Delta Tango. We got, all right, I'm trying to keep it not too political and a little PG. Stop this Nazi shit. Okay. All right. Oh, there's a good one. You know it's gotten bad when the teachers show up. We got a hell of a show coming up. They're getting the mics and the speakers set up right now, but let me just say a word about Dropkick Murphys. This is a band that doesn't just talk the talk. They walk the walk. They live their values. I think in my intro somebody mentioned that I'm a couple hours off the tarmac on a flight back from Ukraine, where we spent a couple of weeks getting there in a convoy of ambulances and other relief vehicles because they need a lot of them. The average lifespan of an ambulance at the front in Ukraine right now is 11 days. 11 days because Putin's military targets them. You want to know who was with me on that convoy driving an ambulance? Ken Casey of the Dropkick Murphys. This is a band that walks the walk, and they sing it pretty well too, because we did an in-studio version in Kyiv of Who Will Stand With Us. Keep your ears open, keep your eyes out. I'm sure that's going to come out soon, but I will share with you my small part in that. We obviously had Ken doing the lead vocals, and we had a bunch of military vets, U.S. military vets in that convoy from the Air Force, from the Army, from the Marine Corps, from the Navy, and we were the backup singers for the Ukrainian version of Who Will Stand With Us. And at one point, Ken put his arm around me and he said, hey, buddy, Ken as well. He said, hey, buddy, I love your enthusiasm, but can you back away from the mic a little bit? All right, we're going to give the band another minute. How are we doing, team? We're good to go. Dropkick Murphys!
When the cooks they work, we gotta work. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the robbers they walk, we gotta walk. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the enemy labors, we gotta labor. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the thieves go marching, we gotta march. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. We gotta walk and talk and fight. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the bullies go hiding, we go finding. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the rats win battles, we must win battles. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. We gotta walk and talk and fight. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the mad dog gives blood, we must give blood. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. When the snakes give dollars, we must give dollars. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. We gotta walk and talk and fight. Not once, not twice, but 10 times more. Not once, not twice, not once, not twice, but 10 times more. It's a brand new song about the times we live in. Throughout centuries in every country, we face the wrath and felt the pain, and the tyrant's sword and the henchman's boot for another rich man's gain. In the endless quest for wealth and power, they stomp us down with great disdain. Beneath the false gods
is a song that's been sung many times over the years in the fight for the labor movement originally and the civil rights movement. And we're here to sing it again today for the fight of this generation's lives. How's it going, everybody? Well, thank you all for inviting us here this afternoon to stand with you all and protest for what is happening to the fine people who have served this country so proudly. And we've always stood with the vets, and you know what? The vets have always stood with the Dropkick Murphys, so we're here for each other. And we consider ourselves patriotic Americans, and when shit ain't right, we're going to speak up, you know? So that's what it's all about. And guess what? Shit ain't right! Well, it's also D-Day, so we want to do a song now that's dedicated to all those that fought in the Great War, and it's a song that we collaborated on with the great Woody Guthrie many years after he passed away. We took his voice, and we put it on this song. And when we were in the studio recording it, and we were doing backup vocals, we had Woody's grandson in there with us. So we're in the studio singing along, and you can hear Woody in our headphones, and Woody's grandson's beside us, and we're singing this song. And I thought, man, how lucky are we to take part in any protest and any resistance when it involves standing up for people. So thank you guys. And this one goes out to anyone who has a family member who served in that war. It's called Dig a Hole.
More
Another great protest song that Ken mentioned, by the way. Ken Harbaugh invited me to go to Ukraine with him and a great group of people that were driving equipment in, and I'm so glad I got that opportunity. And there's a Ukrainian band that I got to know a few years ago, you know, online, and we had just put out this next song, and they asked us if they could do a version of it in Ukrainian, and they couldn't get into a recording studio because at that time the Russians were just on the outskirts of Kyiv. So we sent them this music to this song, and they sang over our music in Ukrainian, and I got to go back on this trip and see them. A couple of them were on the front lines. We got to do another song, and I got to sing in Ukrainian on this one, and Ken sang in Ukrainian. And Ken, you don't have a bad voice, you just have a loud voice, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Anyway, it's another protest song. You know it. It's called We Shall Overcome. Well, we've been trying to keep it in the protest mode, and we're going to play one that's just happened to be a song that people like and a lot of people ask for today, if that's all right. The song's called Rose Tattoo. this life had many shades. I'd wake up every morning and before I'd start each day I'd take a drag from last night's cigarette that smoldered in its tray. Down a little something and then be on my way. I traveled far and wide and laid this head in many ports. I was guided by a compass. I saw beauty to the north. I drew the tales of many lives. I wore the faces of my own. I had these memories all around me so I wouldn't be alone. Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning, no, I know her. I wear it just for you. I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. And a rose tattoo. And a rose tattoo. I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. Are you ready? This one's for the mighty sea, mischief, golden piracy. This one's for the man that raised me, taught me sacrifice and bravery. This one's for our favorite game, black and gold, we wave the flag. This one's for my family name, with pride I'll wear it to the grave. Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning, no, I know her. I wear it just for you. I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. And a rose tattoo. And a rose tattoo. I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. And a rose tattoo. And a rose tattoo. I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. This one means the most to me. It stays here for eternity. A ship that always stays the course. An anchor for my every choice. A rose that shines down from above. I signed and sealed these words of love. I heard them once sung in a song. It played again and we sang along. You'll always be here with me, even if you're gone. You'll always have my love. Of everywhere they're born. Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning, no, I know her. I wear it just for you. I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. In a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. In a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, with pride I wear it to the grave for you. In a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, I got your name written here and a rose tattoo. In a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, signed and sealed in blood, I would die for you. All right. Listen, there's been a lot of talk today, so we're going to leave that to the experts, just to say that we love and respect everyone here and everyone that serves their country and everyone who has family and everyone who's willing to do the hard thing and show up and protest and make their voices heard. I want to especially dedicate this to two guys that I really respect, that really showed up when it really mattered and weren't afraid of the people that were in charge. My boy Harry Dunn out there who came to Ukraine with me. Let's go! And his cohort here, Michael Fanone, who was at the very first Dropkick Murphys show in D.C. in 1997. Proud to know both of you. We're going to play one more new song and we've never played it before live, so you ready for that? All right. If it sucks, just let's all keep it between us, all right? All right? All right. Here we go. Songs up. Thank you, guys. This one's for all them assholes. I want to thank all the organizers of today's event. Well, all everybody here from Unite for Vets, the AFL-CIO. Let's go.
first ones to know.
Yeah, this one's for the work I hold, toils night and day, by hand and by parade, to earn your pay for centuries long past, for no more than your bread, have bled for your countries and counted your dead. In the factories and mills, in the shipyards and mines, we've often been told to keep up with the times, for our skills are not needed. They've streamlined the job and what's the lie, rule and stop watch, a pride they have robbed. We're the first ones to stop, we're the first ones to die, we're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always the last when the grain is shed out, for the worker is working when the fat cats are out. And when the skies darken and the prospect is war, who's given a gun and then pushed to the fore and expected to die for the land of our birth? No, we've never owned one lousy handful of earth. We're the first ones to start, we're the first ones to die, we're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always last when the grain is shed out, for the worker is working when the fat cats are out. We're the first ones to starve, we're the first ones to die, we're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always last when the cream is shed out, for the worker is working when the fat cats are born. We're the first ones to starve, we're the first ones to die, we're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always last when the cream is shed out, for the worker is working when the fat cats are born. And all of these things the worker has done, from tilling the field to carrying the gun, we've been yoked to the plow since time first began, and always expected to carry the
That, guys, Gablings. Woo! Right? I want to make this point that I'm so proud of everyone here, and we can see so many people. We got different hats, different groups. But I want you to look around and see who's not here. Look around. Right? There's a lot of funny hats. There's a lot of organizations that should be here standing up. I want you to go back and get involved. Because if we're not going to get stood by our groups and our organizations, we have to start to organize and gain that. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, Ken, thanks for standing with us on this stage right now.
Fucking Dropkick Murphys! My Irish heart right now is beating 1,000,000 miles an hour. That was amazing. I think we got a party going now. I think so. I think they can hear us. What do you guys think? I'm sorry, what was that? Can they hear us? Hell yeah, they can. Like Will said, this is no longer just a moment. This is the movement. I need you to stay involved. I need you to get involved at community level, all the way up. Look to the person to your left, to your right. We are here together. Power is with the people. Yes. Never underestimate the power of the people. Stay connected. Get to know each other. This is why we are here. This movement would not be possible if it wasn't for the grassroots organizers. This is now spread across 50 cities across the country. We need to keep that momentum going. So when you leave here today, stay involved, stay connected, and stay in the fight. I have the honor and privilege of introducing one of those grassroots organizers today. Is he here? You good? I don't know if we're ready for him yet. It's cool. At least the sun's not out and kicking our ass anymore. Okay, we got Carlos. So, again, I want to give it up to the people that are really making the work happen at the community level. We will not be able to do it without them. We appreciate them so much. I want to introduce Carlos Alvarez.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let's give it up for the Dropkick Murphys. I think I drew the short straw, and I have to follow that somehow. My name is Carlos Alvarez Aranjos, and I'm the founder of American Opposition. It is my solemn honor to stand here on the National Mall, a place where our country has so often been focused in moments of conscience that demand national unity. Today, I'm humbled to speak before the greatest gathering of veterans in this country has ever seen. As we stand here in this sacred place, I am proud to report that we are joined by our fellow citizens at 204 events nationwide. Those events are the product of a partnership between American Opposition, 5051 veterans, and Indivisible. That partnership began with our call for a national day of protest on February 5th, and it has spawned a movement. Tens of millions of Americans have joined us in the fight to save our democracy. We're united in common cause because we know that this moment is challenging us to fight for a nation worthy of the sacrifices made on its behalf. The sacrifices you've made. You did not choose comfort. You did not choose ease. You chose duty. You chose to stand watch while the rest of us slept. You signed your names onto a blank check and told us we could cash it for any amount, up to and including your lives. There is no flag, nor anthem, nor holiday that can fully capture what your service means, because your sacrifices gave those symbols their meaning. Your contribution can only be considered in terms of the human tolls. In the nights you spent far from home, in the brothers and sisters you lost, in the pain you carried back with you when the battles ended, but the burden remained. Yours is American citizenship in its purest form. But today, our sacred commitment to honor your sacrifice is being betrayed. Not by bombs or bullets, but by cowardice. By those in power who are trying to fund their political priorities at your expense. My question is simple. How dare they? How dare they seek to cut your benefits? How dare they dishonor your sacrifice by making you fight for what you've earned? How dare they reject your pleas for help when their power is a product of your sacrifice? A nation that neglects its veterans is a nation that has lost its moral backbone. A government that breaks its promises to those who served cannot be trusted to keep its promises to anyone else. Today, we say enough. Enough lies. Enough greed. Enough excuses. We will not allow a single veteran to go without care while billionaires get tax cuts. We will not allow a single military family to face eviction while government contractors get blank checks. We will not allow the soul of this nation to be sold off while the people who fostered that soul are left to fend for themselves. Enough! We must remind our leaders in every party, every chamber, every office, that veterans are not just a symbol. You are the living embodiment of our nation's ideals, the best of us. And we, the people, will stand with you today and every day. I invite you all to join our movement, to join us in the streets, to join us in the fight to save this nation. Together, we can recommit ourselves not to a party or a politician or a slogan, but to the profound idea at the core of our nation, that out of many, we are one. My brothers and sisters, because of you, we sleep in peace. That is a debt we can never repay. But we will never stop trying. You were willing to give your lives for us. And I swear to you, we are willing to give ours for you. You have always had our backs, and we will always have yours. Thank you for your service, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlos. That is the truth that they are afraid of. That is the truth we carry in our hearts. I am so honored to introduce our next speaker, a hero of mine, founder of Afghan evac. I know the fall of Afghanistan for so many veterans was a dark, dark chapter. I spent time on the ground in Afghanistan, and watching those images was heartbreaking. But like the promise we swore to the Constitution, that oath, we owe a debt to those of our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan who stood by us. And Sean Van Diver was one of the very few who stood up and defended that oath as leader of Afghan evac. Sean, you make us proud. Come on out.
Thanks so much, Ken. Hi, folks. My name's Sean Van Diver. and I'm the president and founder of Afghan evac. We are here today to unite for veterans, to ask, like the Dropkick Murphys just did, who's going to stand with us, and to fight for a country that embodies the core values that we all served under. I ask you, what are you willing to stand for? But before we get to today's fight, I want to tell you a story. Now, I'm not the first person to tell this story, but I think it's fitting given the fight we find ourselves in today. It's the early 1980s. The USS Midway is patrolling the South China Sea. The crew spots a small, leaky boat packed with refugees fleeing Vietnam, desperate for freedom. The Midway sends a launch to bring them to safety. As they approach this massive American ship, one of the refugees stands up, balancing in the tiny vessel, looks to one of the sailors on deck, and shouts, "Hello, American sailor! Hello, freedom man!" A small moment, but a critical moment. To those refugees seeking better lives, the symbol of the United States was that of freedom, of safety, of hope. The sailor who received those words never forgot them, and neither did the man who first told this story. That man went on to describe the vision he had of the place that this refugee sought. He said, "In my mind, it was a tall, proud city, built on rocks stronger than oceans, wind-swept and God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds, living in harmony and peace. A city with free ports that hummed with commerce and creativity. And if there had to be city walls, the walls had doors, and the doors were open to anyone with the will and the heart to get here." Those words, they were the words of none other than President Ronald Reagan in his farewell address. Throughout his political career, Reagan spoke of the shining city on the hill that he believed America could become. But that speech was the first time that he articulated his vision of what he meant. A vision of a country not built on pride and power or petty actions, but on promise. To be the one who shows up, the one who opens the door, the one who doesn't look away, to be the freedom man. That's the America I fight for. That's the America you're all fighting for. And the America I believe that if we can get across political divides and ideologies, we can be that shining city on a hill that President Reagan, whether you like him or not, envisioned. Now, let me tell you another story. In August of 2021, I got a text message from my buddy Lucky. He and I had met a few years earlier in the immediate aftermath of the first travel ban. Lucky was an SIV recipient, an Afghan who had worked and fought alongside American troops, and in doing so earned a special immigrant visa that enabled he and his family to come to the U.S. and build new lives in the country they had fought so hard to protect. He'd gotten here in 2016, and he and his family were not living that far away from me in San Diego. In summer of 2021, before the withdrawal, he went back to visit his mom one last time. She was sick. August 14th, I got a text. It said, "Brother, I'm stuck on this mountain in Irgun. We're surrounded by the Taliban. We're running out of ammunition. I think I'm going to die. Will you grant my last wish and get my family back to San Diego?" Through my tears, I promised Lucky that I would. I didn't know how, but I knew that I would do it. Across the country and around the world, thousands of other service members, veterans, government employees, and frontline civilians were receiving similar messages. Many of you out here received those same messages. As the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan unfolded over the next 2 weeks, so many others like me and like you stepped in to help guide, advise, and support our allies in Afghanistan as they scrambled to escape a country that was actively falling to the Taliban. During those 2 weeks in August of 2021, and in every week in the nearly 4 years since, thousands of veterans and regular civilians came together with no budget, no roadmap, no invitation, just a fire in our chest that said, we owe them. We launched rescue efforts. We found housing. We reunited families torn apart by oceans and red tape. We met them at airports with open arms and car seats. We walked them into courtrooms, clinics, and classrooms. Because just like the promise that I made Lucky, our country had made a promise over 20 years of war that if Afghans stood with us, we would stand with them. That by their service with us, they would earn a pathway to come build new lives here. That promise was made in the dust and heat of combat zones, whispered through interpreters' headsets, sealed in blood, sweat, and sand. The promise that we don't leave anyone behind. But when the last planes left Kabul, that's exactly what we did. Afghan evac was born in those chaotic weeks after Kabul. Our real work began in the aftermath of the withdrawal. Because although the planes had stopped, the calls had not. Terrified voices, desperate texts, children in hiding, mothers begging us not to forget them. So we kept pushing. We demanded that our government step in and complete the job. We built a movement from the ashes of failure because our friends deserve better. And what resulted was the safest, most secure legal immigration pathway our country's ever seen. In the last 4 years, nearly 200,000 Afghans have resettled in the United States through the efforts of the U.S. government partnership that Afghan evac and hundreds of organizations built, working together in shared vision. There are still another 200,000 Afghans who are eligible for at least the chance to pursue the American dream they were promised. For the last 4 years, I've stood shoulder to shoulder with other veterans, volunteers, and frontline civilians who represent a cross-section of America to stand up and demand that our government do the right thing by our wartime allies, that it keep its promise. But that's not the only promise that's being broken by this administration. From the moment they took office, this administration has worked to erase our progress, shuttering the very programs that saved lives, abandoning our allies to chaos, breaking the promise we made as a country to our wartime allies, just like they're breaking the commitment to our veterans. Dropkick Murphys asked us earlier 2 questions. What side are you on? Who will stand with us? My answer is I'll stand with us. I'll stand with you. I'll stand with them. We must all stand together and stand up for what's right. We must keep the promises that we made to each other and force this country to keep the promises it made to us and our allies. Only then can we strive to realize that vision of the shining city on the hill with its doors open to all, with the will and heart to get here. So just as we have for the last 4 years, I hope you'll join Afghan evac. I hope we'll continue to push this government to do what's right, to keep its promise, to stand with us. Because of the hard work and effort of so many people across this great nation who stood up, I was able to keep my promise to Lucky. He got out. I'm standing here with all of you today to demand that my government, our government, keep the promises they make to our wartime allies, to our veterans, and to the world. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to first go to afghanevac.org/donate, make a donation. Number 2, scan the QR code that's up on the screen, sign the petition. Stand with Unite for Veterans, Unite for America. Make your voices heard. It's on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Our next speaker needs no introduction, but I have the mic, and it's what they pay me for, so I'm going to do my best. Senator Tammy Duckworth. Senator Tammy Duckworth has sacrificed so much for this country on a battlefield in Iraq and in that building right there. And she is the only elected representative who's taken this stage today. That tells us something. You know what? Words fail me. I'm just going to hand the mic to Senator Duckworth. It's an honor.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, what a turnout. First off, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who made this afternoon possible. And I'm honored to get the chance not only to speak today in my capacity as a senator, but also to listen to all of you, as one of you, as a fellow veteran. Because I may currently be a member of Congress, but in my heart, first and foremost, I will always be a soldier. And I am damn proud of that. I am here today because, like you, I love this nation. In fact, I love it more than I do my own life, which is why I was willing to lay down my life to defend this nation when this nation called, just as you did. I know that you are here because, like me, we are sick of politicians promising to look out for veterans when they're on the campaign trail and then abandoning them when they take office. I am sick of military families being treated like props. And I am sick of people in power wrapping themselves in the flag with their left hand and then with the other signing off on orders that sell out our heroes to line their own pockets. You deserve better. You've earned better. After all, since the first shots rang out at Lexington and Concord, since the Tuskegee Airmen took the skies to defend a nation that still wouldn't let them sit in the same lunch counter as their white peers, since the members, the Nisei Battalion, volunteered to serve even as the nation put their families into internment camps, since our warriors landed on the beaches of Normandy on this very day 81 years ago, those who have worn the uniform have defied the odds to define America at her best. America is what she is today because of the blood our brothers and sisters shed in combat zones. Our children grow up with the rights that they deserve because of the sweat that's poured down our faces, everywhere from the dust of Fallujah and Kandahar to the jungles of Vietnam. Our sacrifices were the currency we paid to defend America's freedoms. And even as I stand here on these titanium legs, with the wheelchair that I proudly earned by my side, I would not take back those sacrifices in a second. Because America is worth it. As flawed as she may be, she is worth it. I know some of us here hung up our uniforms long ago, but looking out at you all, I see people who recognize that in this perilous moment for our country, our mission today is not too different than what it was when we served in uniform. To defend the Constitution, to protect this democracy, to defend freedoms, and to keep our nation as strong as she should be. That is why each of you here today took off work, traveled from every pocket of this country, and showed up in this wonderful muggy heat today. It's not even a dry heat. Not because it was easy. Guys, it's never easy. But because we love this country enough to try to shape her for the better, even when the road ahead is hazy, even when the task ahead is daunting. We've come together this afternoon because even if we're no longer wearing the uniform, we are always wearing the flag on our shoulder, facing forward. We are here because we are not afraid to call out the wrongs that need to be righted or to call out wannabe kings that need a history lesson. We are here because we refuse to see the democracy that we fought so hard for get dismantled. because we refuse to let the health care and benefits our buddies rightfully earned be gutted. And because we refuse to let thousands of veterans who choose to continue serving this nation as federal workers be fired for no apparent reason. Of the over 6,000 veterans this president has fired, it includes folks who were working at the Veterans Crisis Line, for God's sake. The veterans there are doing some of the toughest work imaginable to support our heroes in their absolutely darkest hour. These are the people the administration has kicked to the curb over the past few months. That should tell you everything you need to know about how the guys in power actually feel about us vets. So let's be clear. The only reason they're doing all of this is to try to pick our veterans' pockets, our taxpayers' pockets, so that they can give even tax breaks to the rich guys they pal around with on their golf courses. Let me say this another way. They care more about allowing billionaires to buy yet another private jet than ensuring that our veterans have access to the benefits that they have earned. They care more about stroking Donald Trump's ego. I'm an old air assault pilot, guys. They have to censor me. Anyway, they're stroking Donald Trump to the tune of a $30 million birthday parade. You know what they should do? I asked the Secretary of the Army yesterday, why would you do that? He said, well, you only get to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday once. And I say, well, wouldn't it be better to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday by spending $30 million on military families' child care? Or maybe let's spend that $30 million to save veterans' jobs. Or how about making better access to health care for veterans? So let's call what it is. This budget bill is a middle finger to our heroes. Where's that middle finger? Raise that thing high. It's a slap in the face to the sacrifices that our veterans have made. Frankly, it's bullshit. And every one of us who serves should feel insulted. I certainly do, and I bet some of you do too. They're even firing fully trained, fully qualified members of our military who are parts of teams who are trans. People who earned their positions, as opposed to Pete Hegseth, who didn't earn his other than by sucking up to Donald Trump. I say, keep the trans service members and fire Pete Hegseth. Listen, the important thing now is to channel our outrage into action. A couple months after my Black Hawk was shot down in Iraq, a United States Senator named Dick Durbin walked into my Walter Reed hospital room and gave me his phone number, saying to call him anytime if I or any of the other patients around me needed some help. I'm not sure that he thought I would take his words quite literally, because there was only 2 service members from Illinois at the time, but I called him anyway, a lot. I caught him way, way too much. At the time, I was the highest ranking amputee on the ward, and I had a lot of senior NCOs who were also amputees. So we all felt responsible for the men and women around us. So I kept on ringing up a United States Senator to help me help these folks get their pay, get their benefits, even to help get that one damn elevator in the hospital that we needed to take to go to 07 formation in our wheelchairs working again. At that point, I know, we're in wheelchairs and they're making us go to 07 formation. Fuck that. At that point, I was so early in my recovery that I could barely sit up for 15 minutes at a time. But when Dick Durbin looked at me, he saw past the wounds, he saw past the wheelchair, he saw a soldier in need of her next mission. And he recognized long before I did that just because I could no longer fly Black Hawks for the Army didn't mean that I couldn't find a new way to serve my nation. And then he said the words that changed my life. He told me that I could best help veterans around me by running for Congress myself. I thought he was nuts. but it turns out he was right. So all these years later, I am asking each of you to take on that new mission too, and many of you already have. Because personally, I am sick and tired of a guy who was never brave enough to serve, claiming that America, that some of our buddies died for, isn't already great. And it pisses me off that a man who cried burn spurs when his nation needed him the most, a 5-time draft-dodging coward who calls fallen service members suckers and losers, it pisses me off that that guy would use our heroes as political pawns to get elected, then screw them over so badly once he took office. So if you are pissed off too, if you think veterans deserve better than to be fired by the thousands, if you think our buddies deserve more than to have their health care ripped away because Trump wants to put another dollar into a rich guy's pockets, well then I need you by my side. Let's make sure that our fields of fire overlap in this fight. I need you to think of today not just as a singular moment, but as the start of our new collective mission. A mission to stand up for the buddies we served with, to do right by the warriors who came before us, and to look out for all of those men and women still serving in uniform. Those young soldiers and sailors, those Marines and airmen and coasties who are ready to sacrifice everything at the drop of a hat should the drums of war start beating again like they did for many of us when we served. Look, I get how in this moment it'd be easy to feel defeated, to want to tune out rather than turn on the news. But now, more than ever, we can't let ourselves become disengaged because there is too much at stake to get discouraged. The reality is there will always be people in big fancy buildings who try to use their power to only look out for themselves. But here are 3 things I know. First, the power of the people is always greater than the people in power, at least in this country. Second, those of us here today have never been too scared to take on a tough mission, especially when it means protecting the democracy that we fought so hard and long to defend. And third, we veterans, we sure as hell would never leave a fallen comrade behind. Whether that was one of our buddies on the battlefield or now one of the folks getting fired or left without care at the VA. So if we want tomorrow to be better than yesterday, we have to come together. We have to recognize that our voices do still matter. Then we got to use those voices to speak out, even if, and actually especially when, anyone tries to silence us. Let them try. Because we veterans have always been the ones helping to keep this nation as strong as she should be. And this moment is no exception. And along the way, you have my word that I will be there with you. We're in this together. And I will always live by the soldier's creed, never ever leaving a fallen comrade behind. It's an honor to call myself part of this team and to have you as my battle buddies in this fight. Thank you. God bless America. Huh! Thanks, guys.
Tammy. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Tammy Duckworth. Icon! Definitely one of my personal icons. Now, Unite for Vets, I have the privilege to introduce our next leader. He has over 30 years of service in the United States Navy. He has commanded ships, led operations globally, and now he is looking to shape the future of our nation's security through action, not just words. Please welcome to the stage a sailor, a strategist, and a statesman, Rear Admiral Michael Smith.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Smith. I'm the founder and president of National Security Leaders for America. We're a bipartisan pro-democracy organization that's made up of over 1,300 retired admirals and generals and senior enlisted, former ambassadors and cabinet secretaries and senior executives. Collectively, our members represent centuries of service to this country. Service that was forged through sacrifice, experience, and hard-earned lessons learned. And the most important of those lessons is this: when a nation breaks its promises with its veterans, it does more than betray its values. It weakens its security, and it undermines the readiness of its future armed forces. This is not an academic discussion for me. I stand here not only as a retired Rear Admiral. More importantly, I'm the son of a Vietnam veteran. I'm the son-in-law, the nephew, the brother-in-law, and the brother of Navy and Marine Corps veterans. Like many of you here, my life was shaped by the service and sacrifice of generations of veterans. My father served in the Navy. He served until early 1980s. I remember when I was at the Naval Academy, I called him to talk to him about fleet readiness for his ships for a paper I was writing. The answers to his questions were sobering. His ships were undermanned, they were underfunded, and they were struggling. It wasn't due to the commitment of its sailors. It wasn't due to poor leadership. It's because the nation had turned its back on veterans. The public mood after Vietnam had shifted, and support for the military had faded. That conversation stayed with me. It was my first personal introduction to a national trend that unfortunately we've seen repeat over and over again. Our veterans return from Korea to silence. They return from Vietnam to scorn. These men and women didn't ask for parades. They needed care and opportunity and dignity. Instead, they were forgotten. The institutions they needed to rely upon were gutted or ignored. It took hard work and national leadership to turn that tide. During my time in service, our country started to learn from its lessons. It reinvested in its armed forces. It renewed its commitments. And it made a promise to future generations that if you raised your hand and volunteered to serve, your nation would always have your back. That was never more important than after the terrorist attacks on 9/11. We saw a new generation raise their hands, volunteer to serve in what would become the longest war in American history. Those young Americans believed in something essential. They believed that their country had their and their families' backs, that they would not become the next forgotten generation. And now, I stand here ashamed. I stand here in disbelief. I stand here shaking in rage because it appears our country is once again going to break its promises. We are hearing of proposals to gut the VA, to fire thousands of veterans from civil service, to politicize their positions that they earned. We're seeing the slow erosion of support being replaced by indifference, or worse, contempt. the fading echoes of thank you for your service are being drowned out by a new message that maybe veterans are, and I quote, not fit to have a job. If together we can't stop this now, we risk repeating the mistakes we swore we would never make again. You know, after World War I, General John Pershing said of the fallen, "Time must not dim the glory of their deeds." That quote must apply not only to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, it must apply to those who've gone into harm's way. Let us not forget. Let us not repeat history's failures. And together, let us ensure that time does not dim the glory and the obligations their deeds demand.
Thank you, Michael Smith. Okay, friends, I'm excited about this next round of speakers. We got some powerhouses in the veteran community. Starting with Libby Jamison, Esquire. She's an attorney that served in the White House as senior advisor to Joining Forces, Dr. Jill Biden's initiative that supports military and veteran families, caregivers, and survivors. She is an absolute boss, and she never backs down when it comes to serving families of our uniformed war fighters. Oh, and small flex, she was Military.com's 2019 Spouse Changemaker of the Year. Please welcome Libby Jamison, Esquire.
Wow. Thank you, Kate, for that lovely introduction. I should also add that I grew up as a proud Navy spouse and spent 20 years, or grew up as a proud Navy brat and spent 20 years as a Navy spouse. So go Navy. Thank you all for sticking around. I'm here to talk about an important fact that so many of us in this community know, that next to so many who serve in uniform are the families who serve and sacrifice right alongside them. For many of us, there's a common thread. You move to a new place, find a new job, new school, new friends, and just when you start to settle in, there's a new set of orders, and it's time to do it all over again. It is exhausting, am I right, families? So let's talk about what the numbers show. A 20% unemployment rate for active duty spouses. 1 in 5 military spouses cannot find a job, and it's not because they're unqualified. It's because of limited opportunities and outdated stereotypes about our community. The next number, 1 in 5 service members report experiencing food insecurity. Let that sink in for a minute. Our military families, the very people defending our country, are struggling to feed themselves and their children. It's absolutely unacceptable. And lastly, no surprise, 1 in 3, the highest number ever of military spouses who support their service member leaving the service to find a new career. But these challenges don't end when the uniform comes off. Spouses need stable jobs, especially to support their families during the service member's transition to civilian life. But those pesky resume gaps can follow you around for years. As Kate said, I was honored to serve at the White House on Dr. Biden's initiative supporting military and veteran families, caregivers, and survivors. One of our proudest achievements was a June 2023 executive order on economic opportunity for military families that specifically made it easier for military spouses to get hired and keep federal jobs. A big win that made it easier. That work was personal for me as a former VA employee. A federal job was a game changer for me. I was able to keep working even when we PCS'd, and it was the first time I was able to stay in a job long enough to get promoted, to get a raise, and to contribute to my family's finances in a meaningful way. Yeah, federal jobs, yes. But now, as we've been talking about today, that progress that so many people fought for is being undone, and thousands of military families in federal jobs are in jeopardy. Remote government jobs that give military spouses stability are under attack. Flexible work options needed especially during a service member's trainings and deployments are being denied, and currently serving families who already have so much uncertainty in their lives are being jerked around. Military spouses are losing their jobs as federal employees and contractors. Some are being reinstated. Others are being given conflicting guidance on telework, and answers to what's next are not clear. So let me be very clear. Firing talented military family members is wrong, and it's bad for our national security. And you should be hearing that directly from those impacted military spouses today. But you're not, because they're being silenced by fear. Fear that they will hurt their service members' careers, and fear of losing a chance to returning to public service themselves. That fear should not exist, not in a country that they sacrifice so much to support. Military families deserve leaders who have their backs, not ones who pay lip service to their sacrifice while actually making life harder for them. So when their voices cannot be heard because of fear of their own leadership, we all here must be their voices. So go on the website, sign the petition, call your congressmen members, and speak up on behalf of our families. We unite for veterans, we unite for military families, we unite for America. Thank you all.
Thank you, Libby. Okay, this next speaker is Kayla Williams. She's a combat veteran, an author, a former VA leader. Yes, we know, a lot of people know. And one of the most powerful voices for military families in America. Kayla served in Iraq, and then she came home, and she never stopped serving, helping lift up other female fellow veterans. Thank you, sister. And demanding a system that sees us all. Please welcome the fearless and brilliant Kayla Williams.
Hey, thank you so much for that generous introduction. It is so great to see all of you out there. Like you, I am fired up and ready to support our VA. So, I grew up poor. My single mom and I, we were always worried about getting evicted from our apartment, and we spent time on food stamps. Today, I own a home, and my kids never know that anxiety because of the home loan guarantee we got from our VA. My mom didn't graduate from college, but I have a master's degree because of the GI Bill that I got from our VA. I served in the Army and deployed to Iraq with 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, and I wanted to keep serving our country. So I worked at VA running the Center for Women Veterans to make sure women could get equal care and access to services. VA gives women veteran moms 3 free nursing bras a year and other breastfeeding support. VA gives women veteran amputees prosthetics they can wear with high heels like Tammy had on, and prosthetics they can wear while doing CrossFit to support all their life needs. I have seen women veteran double amputees learning how to surf at the VA Summer Sports Clinic. Private insurance will never support that. Only one organization does that, our VA. And we have to protect those hard-earned improvements and prevent MAGA extremists and Doge bags from stripping our care and benefits. The Declaration of Independence asserts our fundamental human rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and I deserve to be able to get a life-saving abortion at our VA. But listen, I have to admit, VA doesn't just provide care for women. My husband sustained a penetrating TBI in Iraq from a roadside bomb. Shrapnel pierced his skull and went into his brain. When he was medically retired from the Army, he went to Johns Hopkins. You may have heard of it, one of the best hospitals in the world. You know what they told him? We don't know anything about blast injuries. You need to go to VA. Because VA is designed to support all aspects of veterans' health care, including those unique to us like combat trauma, toxic exposures, MST, and spinal cord injuries. But my group therapy for military sexual trauma was recently cut short because the therapist quit rather than risk being laid off during the massive cuts Secretary Collins is promising to make. I'm getting care elsewhere, and my new counselor asked me, what is MST? That would never happen at our VA. And that is why we are here today, to stand up and fight for the care and benefits that we have earned through our honorable service, and for the employees that provide those services. Employees, many of them union, 30% of whom are veteran themselves, are being purposefully put into trauma by dogebags who don't know anything about service or what government does for the people. Employees who are not allowed to even include in their signature blocks that they are veterans like us, who are not allowed to wear pride pins, who don't know if they'll be laid off tomorrow, who don't know if they'll have to work in a converted broom closet or provide mental health appointments from a cubicle farm. We are here to ensure that veterans of the next war come home to a system where they can get high-quality, evidence-based, culturally competent care and benefits and burial. Our VA. They want to turn VA into an insurance card and force us to get care in the community, even though that care is lower quality and even though rural hospitals are closing all over the country. We deserve a system where veterans can get comprehensive, integrated care and peer support, and where caregivers get support. A system conducting groundbreaking research that helps everyone, like the first liver transplant, the pacemaker, the nicotine patch, one that trains 80% of doctors and provides a backstop to the entire U.S. healthcare system in times of crisis. That system is our VA. We veterans made a contract with our government, and they owe us a strong Department of Veterans Affairs. I swore an oath to the Constitution, not a king, and I will always stand and protect and defend our rights. I am here with you today to stand up and demand that all veterans, including women and our LGBTQ+ brothers and sisters, can safely access comprehensive care at VA. All right, so what can you do? You need to get involved and stay involved. Use your voice for good. Engage in grassroots movements. Join a VSO. Volunteer. Call your members of Congress. Contact all your elected officials and make sure they know that you vote. Thank you and have a great rally.
Kayla, keep kicking ass. You make us all proud. When I say who's VA, you say our VA. Who's VA? Who's VA? When the USS Deo was in crisis, it was our next speaker, Kevin Maggot, who saved 375 lives. He's been saving lives ever since. From leading homeless veterans programs to commanding the Bronx chapter of NAVVETS, Kevin fights for those still struggling in silence. He's living proof that service never stops. Please give it up for Kevin Maggot.
Give yourselves a round of applause. Y'all could do bigger than that. Because y'all are every last one of you are unsung heroes to this, and this can't be a one and done. We got to take today's energy, and we got to keep moving. After today, you have my word. I'm here. I am with NAVVETS, but I'm representing Veteran Action Now, which is a veteran advocacy group, and we are more vocal, more active when it comes to veteran services and what we need, and we are very we not afraid to use our voice. So with that said, I'm going to go back home, and I'm going to look to engage in civil disobedience. That's what we're going to have to do. So I'm going to give you a real quick rundown. I got a lot to say in a little bit of time. When I joined the Navy, I went into a room with about 60, 75 other people, and I took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States from enemies both foreign and domestic. Okay, when I went to the fleet, we had a major class Bravo fire. I was on a Spirits class destroyer called the USS Dale. It was a fire that was right next to the torpedo room. It was major. When I got out the Navy, I never went into a room with 75 other people and was on oath. And when I took that oath, I took it with the federal government. So with that said, I don't want my services to come from Tesla or Starbucks or Walmart or McDonald's. I don't have a connection. I have a connection to the federal government, and I want us to fight to keep that connection because that's who we decided to fight for, this government. Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. It was a great Super Bowl. But Washington got their own Super Bowl going on right now. It's the Patriots versus the Steelers. Okay? And the Patriots are people like Hakeem Jeffries, our leader, George Latimer, Mark Takano. He's doing an outstanding job. There are so many, Jasmine Crockett, there's so many folks that are having their voices push back on us being privatized because I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. I follow patterns. And the pattern is really, let's underfund the VA back to a time when there were less veterans, which is like roughly 2018, 2019, and let it collapse. And then when they say, oh, look, it doesn't work, we have to privatize. That's the game that they're trying to run on us. But we're not dumb. So I just told you who the Patriots are. Who are the Steelers? Self-proclaimed king, Donald Trump. Doge. Secretary of VA, Collins. We can't allow these people to win. There's more of us. We have to galvanize. We have to put all of our petty differences aside, and we have to be able to put action behind what we're doing. We don't get the services that we need as it is, so we're fighting for the little bit that we have. Even if none of this took place, we were still at a deficit. If we replace all of this right now, if they would have set this right now and say we're not going to touch it, we're still at a deficit. We still could do so much more for veterans than what we are doing. I just want to know, how is taking 83,000 jobs from working people making America great or putting us first? I also want to highlight our women. Y'all have a plethora of problems in the VA that goes unrecognized. We need women leadership in the VA. With that said, I really want to highlight a couple of unsung heroes from my home, New York. Asha Castleberry Hernandez, she's still serving in the Army. She's a national security expert and a world-recognized leader. And veterans not being taken care of is absolutely a national security threat. And if you're going to threaten us, you can't threaten us within. But this is a man that has nothing to lose. He's not going to run for re-election. He's just running this country into the dirt. And we got to make sure we stand strong and protect what is ours. With that, I'm going to yield my time. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, next up, we have an Air Force veteran, a mama 3, and a fighter for working American families. When the system tried to push her down, she stood up taller and turned her pain into purpose. That's just what us moms do, isn't it? Now she's running for office. Go, girl. Let's bring some more compassion, courage and justice back to our government. Let's hear it for Shanice Mundell.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I joined the Air Force right out of high school. My mother was a single parent, and we didn't have money for me to go to college. So after a short enlistment, I was honorably discharged and went into the private sector. As a veteran, I was able to use my benefits to purchase a house as a single mom and raise 3 kids, 3 beautiful kids that are thriving right now. I've never had to use any other VA benefits because of the jobs that I held previously. In August of last year, I took a leap of faith and decided to join the federal workforce to continue on as a civil servant. I was so excited after that process, and I was ready to start a new career as a federal employee. But on February 13th, I was fired by this administration through a pre-recorded video call. I had 30 minutes to gather up my things, say goodbye to my colleagues, and I had my access terminated. The last 3.5 months have been a roller coaster ride. Whiplash. I've been fired, rehired, brought back on admin leave with pay. Now I'm on leave without pay, a total disregard of the court order. I have gone through all the stages of grief. Right now, I'm pissed off. You know, veterans fought for this country, and to be treated this way by the administration and the American people is so disheartening. With all the firings right now, now is not the time to be cutting any veterans programs. We're going to need them more than ever. I'm going to keep shining light on the situation and tell my story, your story, our story. We deserve better. We raised our hands and took an oath to protect this country, something the current occupant of the People's House refused to do. I am in this fight for the long haul, and hopefully my name will be on a ballot in the near future. With God, I know all things are possible. I'm going to fight for democracy because when we fight, we win.
Check. Thank you, Shanice. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is the embodiment of the value of resilience. He's an Air Force vet who deployed overseas right next to burn pits. And it messed him up. But he is living proof. And I mean living proof because Tim has a hell of a lot more life left in him. He is living proof that one veteran can change the lives of thousands. Tim is the reason the Pact Act passed, along with a handful of his brothers who camped out on those steps, who didn't take no for an answer, who looked at the senators who high-fived when they killed that bill and said, no, we're not gonna live with that, right? We're going to answer that with action. Tim, come on out. Another one of my heroes, Tim Hauser.
Hello, my fellow veterans. How you doing out there? Let them hear you all across the country. My name is Tim Hauser. A lot of people call me the Gulf War advocate because of my grassroots work over the last several years. I just got a law passed in Ohio that designates September 22nd as Veteran Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day.